The Last Clue is a production of Smith Media Team, LLC. If you have any information about this case, please email us at info@smithmediateamllc.com. Listener discretion is advised. Some content may be upsetting to listeners.
In an exclusive here only on the Last Clue podcast, we have a major update in the case of a University of Oklahoma student who died in a popular area near campus. The parents of Jozsef Joe Powell, a University of Oklahoma rugby player and a member of the United States Army Air National Guard, have filed a civil lawsuit in Cleveland County District Court in the alleged wrongful death of their son. Tonight, we walk you through the lawsuit, the parties, the allegations, the timeline, and the 6 separate causes of action now before the court. And if you've listened to The Last Clue, you knew all about this because we covered the entire thing in Season 2. This is not speculation. This is what's written in the filing.
In news you will only hear on The Last Clue, the attorneys for the Powell family are seeking unspecified damages against multiple defendants, including the men who were present during the assault on Joe Powell, a company allegedly affiliated with at least one of the men, 2, and the city of Norman, Oklahoma. Named in the suit are the 3 men, Landon Dale Hooper, James Allen Purdue, and Landon Dean Sechrist.
And again, if you listen to Season 2, when we covered the Joe Powell case, if you followed the breadcrumbs, you already knew who these players were. Now it's in writing and in filing.
And we can say the names. It is alleged in the suit that Landon Hooper, and we'll just say that is Landon, L-A-N-D-E-N, Hooper, is the defendant who struck Joe Powell, which Hooper later admitted to law enforcement, quote, "I overreacted and I hit him," end quote.
And those words can also be heard in Norman Police Department body cam footage that was reviewed during Season 2 of The Last Clue.
AgriBlades LLC is also named in the suit. According to the filing, the white Ford F-250 truck and trailer involved that night are owned by AgriBlades.
Also named in the civil suit are 3 separate establishments in the Campus Corner area: Logie's on the Corner, The Porch, and Sideline Bar and Grill. And the city of Norman is named under what the suit calls operational negligence.
We discussed that without a proper name in Season 2 of The Last Clue.
The plaintiffs are Amanda and Joseph Powell, Joe's mother and father, both residents of Ottawa County, Oklahoma. They are bringing this action individually as statutory wrongful death beneficiaries. The estate of Joseph Laszlo Matthews Powell also appears throughout Amanda Powell as personal representative. And again, the defendants include Landon Dale Hooper of Canadian County, James Allen Purdue,
Chicken Man,
of Kingfisher County, with a temporary residence in Payne County, because at the time he was a student at Oklahoma State University,
which we referenced in Season 2, and Stillwater.
and Landon Dean Sechrist of Kiowa County, also temporarily residing in Payne County as an Oklahoma State University student. AgriBlades LLC, an Oklahoma limited liability company. The city of Norman, pursuant to the Oklahoma Governmental Tort Claims Act. And then, of course, Logie's on the Corner, The Porch, and Sideline Bar and Grill. The lawsuit notes that a notice of tort claim was sent to the city of Norman on October 27th of last year. The city denied the claim on October 29th. And that triggered a 180-day filing window under state law. The suit states that all statutory prerequisites have been met. The venue is in Cleveland County because the incident occurred there, and Joe resided there at the time of his death.
We just recently should have been celebrating Joe's birthday, as he was born on February 7th, 2002 in Springfield, Missouri. At the time of his death, he was 23 years old, attending the University of Oklahoma, serving in the United States Army National Guard, and pursuing education with the goal of entering the healthcare profession. Ironic. On the evening of March 1st, 2025, Joe went to Campus Corner following a rugby match. He arrived at Logie's at approximately 11 p.m. and began consuming alcoholic beverages sold and served by employees. The lawsuit alleges that as the evening progressed, Joe displayed visible signs of intoxication, impaired balance, confusion, diminished coordination, and that Logie's staff ultimately required him to leave because of his intoxication. The filing further alleges that Logie's continued serving alcohol when he was visibly intoxicated. After leaving Logie's, Joe went to the porch, where he consumed additional alcoholic beverages. He later proceeded to Sideline Bar and Grill, where he again consumed alcohol. The filing alleges that at each establishment, Joe displayed visible signs of intoxication that were, or should have been, apparent.
During the same evening, Hooper, Seacrest, and Purdue traveled together to the Campus Corner area in a white Ford F-250 pickup truck towing a commercial trailer, both owned by Agriblades. The truck and trailer were titled, registered, and insured in the name of Agriblades and were allegedly being operated with the company's knowledge and consent. They parked in the Rev parking lot and went to Sideline,
Which we discussed.
Where does the Rev parking lot sound familiar?
We discussed that in season 2. We also took that walk from Campus Corner,
which you can
to the
find
Rev.
in season 2, simply titled The Walk. The lawsuit alleges the three men also consumed alcohol and displayed observable signs of intoxication, including belligerent behavior and impaired judgment.
Also discussed in season 2, when we went over the Joe Powell case. Remember how Joe had said that something felt off, that there were guys that seemed to be looking for trouble?
Yep.
Well, here they are.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. By approximately 3 a.m. on March 2nd, 2025, Joe walked toward the white Ford F-250 in the Rev parking lot and pulled on the locked rear passenger door handle. Doesn't much sound like a carjacking. He did not gain entry.
And you would know the carjacking reference if you listened to season 2, because this was originally listed as a carjacking.
Assault, carjacking.
It was originally listed as an assault, then switched to a carjacking. Correct.
According to the suit, Hooper lowered the window and Joe asked for a ride. The filing states clearly Joe did not brandish a weapon. He did not enter the vehicle. He did not strike or physically touch any of the occupants. And he did not present an imminent threat of serious bodily harm. The lawsuit alleges that Hooper, Seacrest, and Purdue exited the vehicle and pushed Joe approximately 15 feet away. Without warning, Hooper allegedly delivered what the suit calls a fatal blow to Joe's head. Hooper later told police, again, "I overreacted and I hit him," which, again, you can hear on the body cam footage that we had.
And you heard it on the last clue.
Joe fell backward and struck the back of his head on the concrete.
The impact caused catastrophic traumatic brain injuries, including acute blunt force trauma, fractures of both occipital bones measuring approximately 13 centimeters, intracranial bleeding, subdural hematoma, brain contusions. Joe immediately lost consciousness and did not regain meaningful consciousness.
Remember, we discussed agonal breathing, too.
And on June 3rd, 2025, the Oklahoma State Medical Examiner's Office certified the cause of death as acute blunt force trauma to the head due to assault. The manner of death was listed as homicide.
Homicide. The lawsuit alleges that after Joe fell unconscious and lay motionless, the three men remained on scene. For approximately 30 to 40 minutes that we discussed in season 2, emergency medical services were not called.
And well over 40 minutes.
God. During that period, the filing alleges that cell phones were used to record video and communicate with others.
And only here on The Last Clue, you will hear this. In one Snapchat video, according to this filing, Hooper can allegedly be heard saying, "Hide your fucking hoodie."
The filing alleges that in another video, Perdue grasped Joe by the hair, lifted and turned his head to expose the wound, then released it. The 911 call was placed at approximately 3:47 a.m.
A reminder, this incident happened at approximately 3 a.m. Now, a little bit of a fight, a little bit of a scuffle, whatever you want to call it, it takes a few minutes, but you're talking about roughly 40 plus minutes before EMS was called.
And if you remember in season 2, if you listen to The Last Clue, they had stated they did not take any videos until after the fact. So now they've lied to the police.
But now if you go back and listen to season 2 and watch the video that we posted on our Facebook page, the body cam footage from Norman Police Department, if you look at one of the men, he looks like he is videoing while he's talking to police. He is holding his phone at an angle that certainly looks like, appears so, that he could be videoing at that time. And we said it then, we'll say it again. We had a very, very strong suspicion that there was video involved in this, but they denied everything. Now, what would have helped that is if their asses were hauled to the station and questioned independently instead of as a trio.
Yes. But their phones were confiscated.
But that didn't happen, or allegedly didn't happen.
Yes.
It certainly didn't seem like it happened.
Nope. And when EMS arrived, Joe's Glasgow coma scale was documented as a 4, which indicates profound coma. Joe remained on life support, until March 7th, 2025, when that life support was withdrawn.
The suit also alleges conduct by responding officers.
Body cam footage as well.
That body cam footage sure didn't seem to help their cause.
No.
Officers encountered Joe unconscious, the filing states, and again you can see that officers lifted, repositioned, and handled Joe prior to EMS arrival. It goes so far in this filing, which is something that I will admit I did not see or don't remember noticing on the body cam footage. This filing alleges that an officer placed a boot underneath Joe's head, and that such physical handling created a risk of further injury and contributed to the progression of his traumatic brain injury. The city of Norman is named under the Oklahoma Governmental Tort Claims Act for what the suit describes as operational negligence.
And we went over a lot of that in season 2 after that body cam footage that we saw, and we talked about in a couple of our episodes the way they lifted him, the way they treated him, the way they talked about him before help arrived.
And we even somewhat jokingly talked about how when you listen to episodes 1 and even part of episodes 2, we weren't prepared to go for a full season. But as this information came in, we felt like it was the duty as true crime podcasters, as true crime journalists, that we had to at least look into these things that we were hearing because they were coming from reliable sources. And we did, and we turned it into a 10-episode podcast about something that we had just planned to do 1 or possibly 2 episodes on.
And now we're very passionate about this because this kid, I'm going to say kid, even though he was 23 years old, this kid deserved more than this. He deserved to live. He deserves to be here. And if he's not, his parents deserve answers.
And justice.
Absolutely.
The lawsuit outlines 6 causes of action, including assault and battery against Hooper, negligence against Hooper, voluntary undertaking against Hooper, Seacrest, and Purdue, dram shop liability against Logies, The Porch, and Sideline, negligent entrustment against Agriblades, and operational negligence against the city of Norman.
I'm glad you jumped right into that because, as you can tell, I was getting ready to ask you what the lawsuit outlined. So thank you for reading my mind. The plaintiffs seek compensatory damages, punitive damages, where allowed, interest, costs, attorney's fees, and any relief the court deems just and proper. And I pray Joe and Amanda Powell get more than the court deems appropriate.
And another exclusive to this story, we have an official statement from the attorneys of Amanda and Joe Powell regarding this suit. This is an official statement only heard here on The Last Clue from Glass Tabor attorneys, Glass Tabor law firm. The statement reads, quote, "As a general matter, we try not to litigate active cases in the media. The petition reflects allegations that were carefully developed after reviewing a substantial number of documents and conducting significant legal research. This is now in the hands of the Oklahoma judicial system, and ultimately a judge and jury will determine responsibility based on sworn testimony and evidence. What we can say is that this firm cares deeply about this family, and these parents care deeply for their son. No parent expects to lose their child, and they deserve a full and transparent examination of what happened that night. This lawsuit is simply their way of seeking accountability and answers through the proper legal process."
This is a civil filing. Allegations in the lawsuit are claims, not findings of fact. The defendants will have the opportunity to respond in court, but tonight, what we have presented is what is written.
And what you heard in season 2, for the most part, if you were following The Last Clue through our Joe Powell episodes.
If not, you can certainly go catch up. But this was line by line in a 16-page civil complaint filed in Cleveland County District Court. The legal battle now moves forward.
The Last Clue is a production of Smith Media Team, LLC. If you have any information regarding this case, please email us at info@smithmediateamllc.com. You can follow The Last Clue wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and many more. And for exclusive content, subscribe on Buzzsprout for just $5 a month. And as always, keep searching for The Last Clue.